Hello,
Hello everyone. Welcome back
hello,
to
ma'am.
our GG APEC. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome back to our once again another session with GG APEC Staying Connected
Yes,
Event
yes, yes.
7.0. So, as we had mentioned before, that this is the forum where people from all over India as well as Asia come at one platform and present their expertization with any of the skills or any of the tools and share their knowledge with the audience. This forum is by the educators and for the educators. And here today we have this session, and we are glad to host this session for the first time at GG APAC Event 7.0. So, as I mentioned before, this is a 2 day session, and we have various presenters with us from various parts of India as well as Asia. So, here we have on our screen Mr. Benny, and he is a wonderful presenter. Hello, Benny. Welcome to our show, and we are glad to host you here for today's session, Benny. So I'll just give my introduction a bit. So let me share my screen, and I'll just talk you about my thing. So, my name is Ms. Panna Gandhi. I am the leader and founder of GEG Surat, a Google certified trainer, a Wakelet certified educator, a member, and mode ambassador, and mode educator, as well as KME educator and SDG warrior. And I am nothing, not to forget about that. I basically am an English educator working since last 30 years in this field, and I'm really very glad to host and present at this wonderful APAC Event 7.0, which is for the educators by the educators. So this session, as I said, is 2 days session, and not wasting much time about our presenters. I'll just allow my co-partner to share introduce her, and then once again I'll introduce our today's presenter at this moment. Okay, ma'am, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Apex Session 7.0. I am Mukta Sablok, founder and leader of GEG Ghaziabad. By profession, I am digital computer science. I am Google certified trainer. And like ma'am has already said, we are very glad and fortunate to have among us in our channel GEG Ghaziabad and Surat many presenters, great presenters who will show us how to do or how to work with the technology post pandemic also. So I welcome once again to Benny also, and thank you for accepting our invitation, and the stage is yours.
As I said, we have various presenters. So we have just finished one of our session prior to this, which was by Miss Kamalpreet from Punjab, and she talked about Flip, which was before as named as Flipgrid, and she had shared wonderful session with us, wonderful knowledge, wonderful skills, what we can do with Flipgrid and how we can collaborate and connect with everyone, engage our students and make our classroom more effective and get connected with various people and students as well. And now we have Mr. Benny. He is the he is from Malaysia, and he is the leader and founder of GG Pacer. I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong, Mr. Benny. And he is going to talk about Pole Everywhere. So I'm not going to talk much about it, and allow Mr. Benny to introduce himself. So over to you, Mr. Benny. I'll just stop sharing my screen.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Should I call Miss Panna Gandhi and Miss Gupta Sablok? I'm very glad actually to be invited for this session, as this is the first time I am doing sharing internationally, whereby I can come to India virtually because I've never been to India before. Oh, by the way, I'm from Malaysia. I'm actually living in Johor. So where is Johor? Johor is a place or state which is just right above Singapore. So yeah, hopefully one day later you could come to Malaysia also and do by notifying me. And I'm pretty sure if I got a chance, I will bring you guys along. All right. So allow me to share my screen. Um, okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. So Benny, we will be at the backstage, and the stage is all yours, so you can share your expertise.
All right. Thank you. All right. See you around. Okay, so how are you guys? So my name is Benny. People call me Benny Lau, or my students call me Sir Benny. Um, so today, actually, I'm very happy to be able to be as a speaker to share about a topic, which is actually an interactive add-ons from Google Slide. So um, before I go on, allow me to introduce a bit of myself. Um, oh, just hold on. All right, sorry, it's a bit of connection problem. All right, so actually, I'm a physics and science secondary teacher, and I serve
Just a
since.
minute. Sorry to interrupt you, Benny. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
sure.
you. Sorry to interrupt you. Your screen is not visible actually. Your screen is
My
not
what? Sorry.
visible.
Is it clear with my voice?
Hello. Sorry to interrupt you. Your screen is not visible. Your screen is not visible.
My screen is not visible.
No, screen,
Oh,
screen.
my screen. Oh, let me try again. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, I'm very sorry for the technical error.
Your
Okay, let me
screen.
try my screen.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, is it okay now? Yeah. So is it okay now, Miss Mukta? Or maybe the audience, could you give me some feedbacks? Whether my
Nothing
screen
is
is
visible
okay?
actually on your screen.
I think
The
from
content
what
is
I
not
watched.
visible on your screen. The content is not visible
Okay.
on your screen. Screen
The
is there,
I
blank screen is there.
blank screen. But
Blank
from
screen is
what I
there.
watched from YouTube is okay. Yeah, Miss Penna, maybe can you please help me to check? I think it's okay for my screen because when I try to view from the YouTube is okay. Yeah. So I think maybe there's some connection problem for Mix Mota. All right. It's okay. I think we can just proceed. I'm pretty sure is okay for the YouTube or for the live streaming. All right. So allow me to introduce myself. So I'm a physics and science secondary teacher, which I start serving as a government teacher since 2016 in a school, secondary school called SMK Taman Sejaya Johor. And some of the positions of the jobs title that I have been entrusted are head of physics panel, ICT coordinator, secretary of school students affair, and so on. So we know that during 2020, there's a pandemic striking on the whole world. And we know that the pandemic actually gave us a lot of trouble, a lot of like negative impact. But I'm really thankful to have Google Education, because that time when I was in 2020 as an ICT coordinator, I was able to explore or introduce about what is Google Education. And when students and teachers are struggling about how do we actually organizing classes or interaction with our students, so here comes the solution whereby Google Education offer a lot of platforms such as Google Meet, Google Classroom, even assessments such as Google Form. So uh, all these what we call the facilities actually enable us as a teachers to conduct our classes or lessons with our students. So in year 2020, I was able to take the opportunity to equip myself by taking Google Certified Education level 1 and level 2. And further that, I proceed myself and I challenging myself to to take the course as a Google certified trainer, and I was successfully being certified as a Google certified trainer in year 2021. And for your information, in Malaysia, actually we always have a lot of supportive digital programs that actually provide courses and trainings to the teachers. And very proud to say that in year 2021 and 2022, which is last year, we have been actually training for more than thousands of GCE educators and also trainers. So this is considered quite a very big achievement for us, GEG, because we are the communities that support through physically, through virtually, or sharing all the contents and materials to the teachers. And now we can see that the maturity of the technology in education is becoming developed and growing well and well. And to actually, because of all these contribution, I was actually being offered as an excellent teacher title. And besides, I also very proud to say I got some awards such as top 50 winners for Digital Champion Teacher Award. And last but not least, just as Ms. Bukta and Ms. Panna, I am the leader of GG Pasir Gudang Malaysia, which actually just being established like 1.5 years ago. So we can consider like a new baby for GEG family. But still, we actually have more than 200 members that are joining GEG Pasir Gudang. And in this area, we started to have more and more GEG communities coming up and also established, so that we have more people joining as a Google family and also support other teachers, especially the new teachers who are just posted to the school. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce about Poll Everywhere. So perhaps this is the first time you hear about Poll Everywhere. So for this 45-minute session, I would like to uh, highlight some of the important things that I hope after the session you can get the idea of what is Poll Everywhere, and also understand what are the functions and uses of Poll Everywhere. And once we have understand, so we would like to apply Poll Everywhere in our teaching and learning process. And of course, once we have integrated Poll Everywhere in our learning process, we would like to get some collected responses from our students. And we can analyze, we can evaluate, and at last, I hope by this session, I'm able to show you a sample on how we create an integration of Poll Everywhere into our teaching and learning process. So, what is Poll Everywhere? The idea that I started to explore Poll Everywhere is when I study in University of Otago, New Zealand, whereby I remember that time I went to the class and the lecturer gave every one of us a clicker. So a clicker is just like a remote control that help us to click on the remote control, and by then the lecturer can collect the responses as well as the attendance from the students. So apart from the traditional way, which we call the name, the lecturer can now identify who is absent or present on the day. So this idea actually stimulate me to, or trigger me to actually think about how I actually introduce this technology to my class. And of course, due to the cost issue, I am not able to afford the technology of clicker for every student, whereby if you imagine we have 40 students in a class, so I have to purchase 40 clickers for one class. And how about if I have 5 classes to teach? So I need to buy a lot of clickers just for the purpose of teaching and learning. And then I started to explore and search, and then I found that there's a alternative that actually simulate the function of clicker, which is called Pour Everywhere. So I'm pretty sure that every one of us have been watching the program, which Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and we always like it's very exciting when we ask audience response on the question that we don't know. So as you can see, this contestant, he has no idea on which correct answers to choose, and so he asked for help from the audience, and then we can see that mostly the audiences choose A as the answer. So how do we actually apply this into our teaching and learning process? In traditional way, when a teacher asks a question to students, there might be a few scenarios. Number one, you can see all students keep quiet and nobody wants to answer. Oh, this might be the Asian style that we just tend to keep quiet and we afraid of making mistake. Or maybe the other scenario is we have a lot of students raising their hands, but we don't know who to call. So by solving this issue, we can actually integrate Pour Everywhere, whereby every student in the class has the opportunity to participate or even give their answers through digitally. So how do we actually integrate Pour Everywhere in the class? Thereby, we need to have a device whereby, sorry, thereby we need to give or even borrow the device to students. For example, cell phone or even laptops or Chromebook. So by this way, students can actually interact with teachers, and teachers can keep track on students' performance and achievement so that they know how further they understand about the topic. So what are the functions of Pour Everywhere? Basically, there are a few functions or choices of Pour Everywhere that we can use to implement in our class. So for example, Pour Everyone can be asked in the form of multiple choice. And this is quite common because normally let's say we ask question to student and we have give a few choices A, B, C, D. So students, they can choose either A or B or C or D. But the thing is, we might not know the reason why they choose A or why they choose B. Perhaps they just make a guess, or maybe they just simply click one answer in order to submit a response. But for today, I would like to actually stress more about on the process, how we actually integrate and encourage students to perform 21st century skills rather than using Pour Everywhere. The second is word cloud, and also we have Q&A, clickable, survey, open-ended, and competition. And allow me to show you one by one. So this is the example of multiple choice, whereby I conducted Pour Everywhere with my student. And when I try to ask a question in Malay, because most of my students, they understand in Malay. And of course, this is regardless of any language. We can ask in Chinese, English, Hindi, and so on. So when we try to ask questions, students can just simply or not simply, they think the answer, then they choose. So this is a form of example about multiple choice. And besides, we have word cloud. So for example, we would like students to contribute their ideas on, for example, okay, let's say the question is about state one application on cathode ray oscilloscope. So they might just comment on the screen using Port Everywhere, and the system of Port Everywhere will actually form some mind map like this so that it is presentably more favorable and also more nice for the students to view. And the third one is Q&A. So normally we need some responses from students, and we ask any question from students. So they will just type in the Port Everywhere, let's say no questions, or maybe they ask about some funny questions. So this is the space that given to them for asking or even getting some attention from the teachers. And of course, we can also ask, let's say, how do you feel today? What is your feeling? What do you think after the process of learning today? So they can click either they feel angry on the left, or maybe they feel happy on the right. So these pictures actually allow them to have more creative interaction among teachers and students. And also we can ask the questions in the form of survey. So let's say we ask them to arrange in order the priority that the favorite apps they like for gamification. So for example, they like Port Everywhere first, and then Quizy, Kahoot, Brooklet, and so on. And of course, besides multiple choice question, we allow students to write their own answers by having open-ended questions. So for example, we can just ask like, why do you think that learning is important? So they may just comment, I think that learning is important because I need to gain knowledge to help people. So this type of question actually allows more creativity and critical thinking for students to write and also share their thoughts to the students. So when students finish typing their answers and thoughts one by one, all the answers will pop up on the screen one by one. By then, students are actually excited and looking forward to see what their friends thinking. And finally, we can have competition with students. For example, after we have learned one topic, we can organize a competition game whereby students they compete each other to fight for the first place, second place, and we know that the competitive environment is very good for students so that they tend to aim higher and also tend to learn more and explore more so that they can be better and better. So once we have looked at the functions of Port Everywhere, how do we apply for the Port Everywhere in our class? So I remember that when 2018, when I have explored and known about these Port Everywhere applications, I actually make this as one of the topic for my master thesis, and very successful to tell that I managed to help my students and also increase the interaction of students. And in the end, students achieve better performance compared to traditional way. So instead of physical classroom, we can also integrate Power Everywhere in virtual classroom, such as Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or any other online platform that we interact with our students. So besides Power Everywhere exists as a one individual website, the power of Google is we can actually install or even integrate Poll Everywhere in our Google Slide, whereby we have two-in-one package lessons, which means that we don't have to switch the window or switch the channel from Poll Everywhere or to Google Slide, but instead we combine both as one so that we can make our lessons more smooth and also more interactive. And once we get the students' response, we can of course analyze, and also we try to observe how far or how deep our students' understanding towards a topic. So, for example, for this one question, after a teacher has asked the response from the students, and the role of teacher is to analyze, to observe whether their students understand what they have been taught or not. So if let's say the teacher found that most of the students they choose the wrong answer, so what the teacher is going to do is teacher do not just tell them the right answer directly, but instead when students observe the data distribution, they will, they might wonder why I choose this answer while the majority of the students choose another answer. So this is the time for them to think, to ponder, to ask why my thinking or my thought is different from others. And for teacher, if he or she found that students they are not following the right track, teachers have to pause and also try to ask some guided questions to the students and ask them to think, to discuss, to interact, and to communicate among each other. So besides teacher to analyze students' response, the teachers can also download or even keep all the assessment record for future purpose. So for example, after certain time of lesson, so when teacher view back all the responses, all the scores, so they can do the reflection that, oh, mostly the students, they are not very good in this topic, or maybe this student need help, or maybe I need to give some extra class or extra guidance to the student and so on. So this is actually a very good keep on track for for the teachers to make sure that their students are not struggling, their students are always on the right track. And number 5 is to evaluate students' response. So as we can see from this picture, whereby I crop it from the program Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So you can see the question, which of these square numbers also happens to be the sum of two smaller square numbers? And we could see from the voting system or voting answers of the audience, most people they choose A, or we can say 45% of the audience they choose A as answers. But in fact, if a teacher observed this and he knew that this is not the right answer, so he must take the role to guide the students, whereby students, you are not in the right track, you are wrong now. But indirectly, we are not telling them, oh, this is the right answer. The right answer should be B or C or D. But instead, we guide the students to think about it, to reveal their answers, to make reflection, to think again, to discuss again. And after one certain while, they might change their answers to another kind of poll distribution. So in fact, I have experience with my students whereby when I try to ask the questions, and most students actually they choose A as the answers, and when I know something is wrong for them, and I try to guide them, and I say, "Are you sure this is the answer? Can you please discuss with your friends? Why do you choose A, or maybe some other friends choose C?" And this is the time for us to encourage students to think, to interact, rather than we give them the answer straight away. And then after a few while, students are back on the right track, and then they slowly are being picked up to choose the right answer. So for the flow to integrate poll everywhere in our learning, so normally teachers we do not show the correct answer straight away. In fact, when we show or display the students' answer distribution. So we teachers, we ask students, okay, to explain because we know that everyone actually they participate, or maybe we know that this student is very shy. He or she is very afraid of telling the wrong answer if we call the answer if we call their names right. But through the poll everywhere system, everyone actually is able to take part silently. So when they make the choice, now when we ask the students to explain their choices, at least even though they have no idea, but at least they try. They've tried, they attempt the answer. So this is a way actually for us as a teachers to encourage them to speak, to give comments, to voice out their opinions. So there might be students, they are sharing about their ideas. I think that the answer is A because blah, blah, blah. I think that the answer is C because blah, blah, blah. So where we have a few different opinions, now students, they might have more broadened ideas on, oh, I never think about it. Oh, this is the way. Maybe I'm wrong. So once students they hear their friends sharing their ideas, now the role of teacher is to stimulate the students to think again. uh, are you sure this student is correct? What do you think? What if this and that? So when teachers try to not to say provoke, but try to ask some questions to stimulate the students, so students they discuss they discuss among themselves, maybe in pairs or in groups, and then once they come to one agreement and they try to revote, and maybe when we see the result it might be different from the previous one, and teachers now can carry out further evaluation and of course doing a conclusion. So in fact, Pour Everywhere is a tool, I could say, to encourage 21st century learning skills, which are, we call this basically 4 C's: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and also communication. So for this, what we would like to emphasize is we we pay more attention on the process of learning rather than the results of learning. Of course, we know that students they have to know the right answer, they have to know the right truth, but through the ways that the teacher approach, where we use Pour Everywhere, students they might have a lot of chances and spaces for them to explore themselves rather than teachers provide the answer straight away. So Pour Everywhere actually creates a platform or a chance for students to interact, to communicate, to think, and to comment and to appreciate each other. And And now we actually would like to create a sample on how it actually we can use in our online learning or even physical learning. So allow me to exit my slideshow, and I would like to do some demo on how we actually can create a sample of Pour Everywhere. And I'm pretty sure that Miss Panda and also Miss Mukta, they have shared the link for Pour Everywhere. So if you are interested, you might follow my step to explore about what is Pour Everywhere and how do we actually organize some activities for students to interact. All right. So of course, definitely the first thing is we can Google. Okay, Google is very powerful. So we Google and type Pour Everywhere, and we click on the website Pour Everywhere. And of course, we need to sign up for an account. So for the first time user, we can just straight away click sign up. And as teacher, we can choose I'm a presenter. Okay, I choose I'm a presenter. And I use sign up with Google. Or maybe you can use your email to sign up for an account. Okay, so after I have signed up for one Powerware account, so just tick yes, and also I can choose yes or no. So the first step is we can do the sign up.
So,
Okay,
dear audience, I have, sorry, Benny, to interrupt.
yep,
I have shared the links for this poll.com, and also sharing other Twitter handles and Facebook handles and links to get connected with Benny and with us. So please have a look there and kindly stay till end to get your certificate by filling up the form as well. Thank you, Benny. Please go ahead and continue.
All right, thank you, Miss Pana. Thank you. Please stay connected with me. All right, so once we have created the account, so we can just choose some aspect like the kind of the work. So let's say for me it's a K-12. Okay, all right. So I just click get started. Okay, so of course we can actually follow the tutorial that has been given. So I will just go out. Okay, I'll just go out. So now I am actually signed up for the account and I click home. Okay, so this activity response URL is the special magic link for my own. So when every time I would like to interact with my students or even teachers or anyone, I can just share the link. I can just share the link, and then every time when I have the activity, they can just enter the same link to follow the activity to poll with me. Right, so now I would like to create an activity. So I will just click the add activity, the add button activity. Okay, so you can see there are a lot of options or even the choices that I would like to design for my questions. So as I explained earlier, we have multiple choice, we have word cloud, we have Q&A, we have clickable image, we have survey, we have open-ended, and we have competition. And apart from all these seven, actually we have more and more uh, options that we can explore. But normally for simple use, we can actually use the seven functions of the for everywhere. So let us start with a basic one. So let me show example. Multiple choice. Right. For example, I'm teaching mathematics. So I will just type a question 1 plus 1. But it's very easy, right? So if let's say I would like to insert an image of my question, I can just attach an image. All right, so let me show a sample picture. So I just upload the picture from the desktop. Okay, so let us make some options. Okay, the answer is 1, 2. Okay, let's say I want to have 4 options, 3 and 4. Right, so I have 4 options. If let's say I would like to attach some photos, I can also click this one and then I share another photo for this one. Okay, right. So as you can see, this is the image. All right. So if let's say I would like to make one correct answer, I could just put a right take on the correct answer. So 1 plus 1, of course, we know it's 2, right? So I can just take a green tick for the answer. Right. So once we finish, we can just click create. Okay, right. So once we have created, and actually we can, of course, organize or we can hold the activity with our students. So, so this is the display that the students will see. You can see the picture that I've uploaded, and then the question is over here, and this is the option 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I need to activate. I need to click activate. All right. So after I click activate, so what I'm gonna do is I can try to present. Okay. So let me try to present. Okay. So once I have created the activity, I could present to my students. So how my students are going to react? So they need to respond through the special link that is connected to me. So allow me to share my link to you guys. Okay, right. So let me send the link to you guys, or maybe you can try. Okay, so we go to how people can respond. So we just copy this one. Okay, so maybe I just copy this one and let me share to the comments. Let me share to the comments. Miss Panna, can you please share for me? Okay. All right. So as you can see, we actually have the audience giving the answers. So number three, got people choose number three. So you guys can have a try on the voting. So maybe it takes some time for the moderator to share to you guys. So the thing is, if let's say we would like to hide the response so that the students they will see what the other people choose, right? So what we do is we can hide the the answers or the responses by the students. So as you can see here, we have one responses. So that means that so far we have one student, they respond or even vote for the questions. So when we try to display, we can actually show the question and we hide or we do not tell the students what are the correct answers. So we allow them to vote, poll, or even they try to comment, choose the correct answer first. So once we have time, the 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 period to answer the questions, so we can just make a lock here. Okay, so we can make a lock here. So once I press this one, that means nobody can answer anymore. And then only I show the response. So from here, we can see that only one student choose three as the answer. And for teacher, let's say we do not want to show the correct answers. So here is the trick that teacher has to let the students to think and to guide them to find the correct answers. So if let's say we have seen that many of students they answer correctly, of course we can just choose the correct answer by clicking correctness. So you can see correctness and then it will show how many percent of the students answering correctly. So there are a few more activities that we can hold or we can organize with the students. Just that, let's say if as a teacher, I have prepared a Google slide to show my pictures, my topics, my presentations, but I do not want my students to be distracted by teacher switching the screens to and fro. So what I can do is I can combine Poll Everywhere into my Google slide. So this is very good because I can only control the whole screen within one website or one window. All right, so let me have a demonstration for you guys. All right, so here is my sample of the Google slide. So let's say today I would like to explain about this topic, which is wave. So I have prepared all my slides. So as you can see, all these are my slides. Just that I would like to integrate some activities in between the slides. So let's say before begin, I would like to ask the students on how they understand about wave, right? So what I can do is before this slide, I can put one activity in the slide by using the integration of Poll Everywhere. So before we go to the Google slide, so what we can do is we need to do one extra step, whereby we need to go to Chrome extension. Okay, so let me go to Chrome extension. Okay, so once I have Google Chrome extension, we call Chrome Web Store. So what I'm going to do is I need to install add-ons for the Google slide. Okay, so once I have clicked Chrome Web Store, I will just type Poll Everywhere. All right, I'll just type Poll Everywhere. And then and then I need to download or install this. I click add to Chrome, right? And then I just click add extension. Right, so just wait for the thing to be downloaded. All right, so once it's done, so it will appear that Power Everywhere has been added to Chrome. So now when we go to our Google slide, okay, so if we go to our Google slide, I'm not so sure I have the slide or not. We have a look. Okay, so let's say I'm clicking this, and you will see that in our toolbar there will be one extra option, which is Power Everywhere. Can you see that? So if we didn't install Power Everywhere in our Chrome Web Store, we won't have this one. So for now, I can actually, what I'm going to do is I can just click Power Everywhere, and I can just straight away create here. I don't have to go to Power Everywhere website, or I can even insert the activity that I have created. So for example, I click Power Everywhere, I click insert, and then I click activity. And now I'm going to choose the activity that I've created. So let's say I click this one, and I click insert slides, and then I just continue to insert the slides, and then it says successfully inserting the slide. And for now, we can see that there's a add-ons of the activity here. So you can see that we actually have integrated Power Everywhere into our Google slide. So the benefit or advantage of doing this is that I can put the activities of Power Everywhere together in my Google slide. So I do not have to keep switching the windows to Power Everywhere and then to our slide again. So students will feel that this is a very smooth flow for them to learn from starting to the end. So let's say if I click slideshow, okay, so if I click the slideshow and then I click next, so actually it will automatically load everything here. So as you can see now the poll is low and responses are not accepted. So let's say if I want to open, I can just scroll my mouse to the bottom and I can just open for the open responses collected, and I can change my display to instruction, responses, or even I show the correctness. So this is the same thing as what I have demonstrated in the website, just that for now, the benefit is I can I can blend all the things in one Google slide. So once I have this activity conducted, I can continue to explain about my topic, and then soon I have another activity again. So the more important is how we actually design our teaching and learning process so that students they have the chance to portray 21st century skills. For students, we would like to create student-oriented learning. So as teacher, we as a facilitator, we would like to give the opportunity for students to have the chance to practice, to portray, or even to acquire the 21st century skills, which are the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and also creative thinking. So I would say Poll Everywhere is very good to be used, and the maximum participants for voting in Poll Everywhere is 40, which is I believe that this is more than enough for one physical classroom, and perhaps this is not suitable for a very open webinar like this, but normally if we conduct a class, we can use Poll Everywhere as a free tool for us to have interactive and very attractive interaction with our students. So I think the time is about to come and end. So last but not least, I would like to actually uh, just a minute.
Yeah, great going, Benny. It is really great going, and I hope the audience are learning a lot from you today. And even I, as an educator, had learned a lot about this poll everywhere, how to integrate students with, and get connected with and engage with them more and more. It's really a wonderful session, and I hope audience, if you have any questions, please ask in the comment box. We have also shared all the links to the Apex site, Facebook link for Mr. Benny, Facebook links and Twitter handles of R, and the channel GG Surat and Ghaziabad channels links also we have shared, so you can stay connected with us. And I would also lastly invite all of you, whoever are watching from all the parts of the world, if you would like to share your expertization or share anything with us, and use our platform to share your expertization to the world, you can get connected with us through the Twitter handles and social media handles what we have shared there. So please stay connected and stay tuned. And at the last, again, over to you, Benny. Would you like to share still more anything which I've left or missed out anything?
Yeah, just one or two sentences to conclude. So I would like to say thanks again to GG Surat and also GG Gazapiat, Miss Penna and also Miss Mukta for the invitation. This is a very great experience for me for the first time to share with you guys. And yeah, I hope maybe some days later we could have the chance to share, interact again, or maybe for the next time, I could hear you guys sharing to us from Malaysia again. So in fact, in Malaysia also we have a GEG APAC event weekend whereby we have a lot of series of webinars sharing about Google and so on. So I believe this is a very wonderful weekend for me, and I hope it's also wonderful for you guys. And yeah, so please continue to get the passion to bring the best to our teachers and also students. Thank you very much and hope to see you guys again.
Thank you, Benny, for sharing all your beautiful words with us. And we are really glad to host you here on our platform. And really, as you said, we would be getting in touch once again. And as you are presenting with us for the first time, we are also glad to have this opportunity for the first time to share to the great world on this wonderful GG APEC events, Staying Connected 7.0. And yes, in future, we will be glad to share our expertization at GG Malaysia as well on your platform. So, wonderful, guys. Is there any question? I'll just ask at the end and share the form link with you all so that you can get your certificates. And yes, please do not go. We are again lined up with many more sessions from 3 o'clock onwards, IST time, that is Indian time. So please do join us back at 3 o'clock and have a great learning with us. So I'll just share the link with you for getting your certificate. Just a moment, please.
Yeah, I think there's a question by Akansha Delki. Does this Poryware work good with learners too? Can I answer this question, Miss Panna?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, thank you for that. Yes, actually, for me, I was once a very beginner for exploring this sport everywhere, and I believe that this sport everywhere actually works similarly to other gamification such as Kahoot, Quizy, and so on. But the only thing is for sport everywhere, it has even more variety of the ways that we ask the questions to the students. And the more important is not about the apps that we use, but it's more like the chances that we give to our students to practice, to exhibit their potential in portraying the 21st century skills. So I would say actually it's very good, and I hope you can try exploring for everywhere, and it's really really easy to use. And I hope for maybe you are a teacher, maybe you can try practice first with your colleagues or with your other teachers before you integrate in the class, so that you get familiar on how actually this thing work and that thing work. Yep. All the best and thank you.
Thank you, wonderful, and thank you, Benny, and thank you to all our wonderful audience. Stay connected with us, and here we are ending the show. Bye bye. Have a
Bye
nice
bye.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.